This is a video for Wednesday's lesson, January 6th. And we are taking a look at expanding binomials still, day 3. We're going to add a few elements here. First, we're going to start with a warm-up in class. So if you are doing this and you did not attend class, then do this problem real quick. Pause, do the problem, and then unpause, and you can see the answer. I am going to run through this. That way it helps anybody who wants a little more help with expanding one of these. So I would take x to the 5th, and the exponents for x decrease by 1 as we go through the problem. X to the 1st, and then x to the 0 is 1. And then I'm going to do 3, and 3 goes up, so there's nothing in the first one. And then 3 to the 1st, 3 to the 2nd, 3 to the 3rd, 3 to the 4th, and 3 to the 5th power. Really, that should always be in parentheses, those 3's, but it's not a big deal on this one. And then, because it's to the 5th power, I'm using Pascal's triangle. Those would be 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and 1 would be the coefficients for those. And that comes from producing that triangle that we talked about yesterday. I'm going to clean this up real quick. I have an x to the 5th. 5 times 3 makes 15. X to the 4th. 10 times 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. So 10 times 9 is 90x to the 3rd. Plus 3 to the 3rd is 27 times 10 is 270x squared. 3 to the 4th is 81. 81 times 5 would be 405x. Plus 3 to the 5th, which is 243, and that would be the final answer. Okay. Now, on to the new stuff for today. Number 2 says, what happens if we have a negative number? How will the negative number affect our answers? And so instead of x plus 2, the first time we see a minus sign, and that's x minus 2. So that means that the number that goes in, like the y's we're doing on Monday, where the exponent increases, y to the 1st, to the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 4th, to the 5th. In this case, now yesterday we did it as a positive 2. Because it's a minus 2, that minus stays with the 2, and it's a negative 2 being raised to the 1st, to the 2nd, to the 3rd, to the 4th, to the 5th. So again, how I set this up, I take the coefficients for 5, which is 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1 from the Pascal's triangle. The x variables, exponents, are decreasing, just like they did the last 2 days, starting with x to the 5th, then 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing. And then the negative 2 is like my y value, and that increases, so nothing, negative 2 to the 1st, negative 2 to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So the pattern's still the same, I'm just using a negative 2. Now think about what a negative number does. If a negative number is raised to an even exponent, it turns positive, because you would have negative 2 to the 2nd. That's 2 negatives times itself an even number of times. An even number of negative comes out positive. But if it's raised to an odd exponent, it will stay negative. So anywhere that negative 2 is raised to an odd exponent, those terms are going to be negative here, here, and here, because it's an odd exponent, so it stays negative. And any of the terms where negative 2 is raised to an even power, those stay positive. And so what we see is the signs end up alternating. It's the same answer as what we got yesterday with x plus 2, only every other term is a negative, starting with the 2nd. So the 2nd, 4th, and 6th terms in this one. So then you can try this one. So if you're going to try this one, if you weren't in class and you're doing this, maybe try this now and then pause. And then when you're done, unpause and come back to the answer. So the answer for this then is going to be to the 4th power. X gets raised to the 4th, to the 3rd, to the 2nd, to the 1st, and then 1. I'm going to do negative 5. Now there's no negative 5 there, but there would be a negative 5 to the 1st, then negative 5 to the 2nd. Notice the exponents add up to 4 in each term. Negative 5 to the 3rd, and then negative 5 to the 4th. And then I'll fill in my my coefficients for 4. 1, 4, 6, 4, and then 1. So now let's simplify. X to the 4th. This is negative 5 times 4, or negative 20x to the 3rd. this is a positive 25. Negative 5 squared is positive 25 times 6 is 150, and that's for x squared. Negative 5 to the third is a negative 125. Multiply that by 4 gives me negative 500x. And then negative 5 to the fourth, it's an even exponent. So this is going to come out as a positive. Negative 5 to the fourth is 625, positive 625. So this would be my final simplified answer. We're also going to explore today about how to deal with a number in front of x. So, oh wait, it's positive, okay, but there's a 2 in front of that x. So, and I broke this down step by step with each pattern, A through D. So I'm going to take, first of all, let's set up the coefficients. This is to the fourth power, so I'm going to use the coefficients of 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1. Second, we're going to set up the exponents for x. But instead of just x, it's not just an x here, it's a 2x. So in parentheses are very important on this one. So I'm going to take 2x in parentheses and raise it to the fourth. Then 2x to the third. I'm still decreasing my exponents by 1. The pattern is still the same, but instead of x, it's 2x. And then for the third part, now we're going to set up the exponents for the second term, which is 3. So I'm going to take the 3, and there's nothing here. 3 to the first, 3 to the second, 3 to the third, 3 to the fourth. So it's still the same pattern of those exponents increasing. And then on the last step, we just need to simplify all this, and that's all D is. And I'll let you take a look at D yourself here a little bit. But the key for simplifying is that now I have 3 parts to each one. So I'm just going to do this one part to this. 1 second. So I'm just going to focus on one term. So let's focus in on this term here. Notice there are now 3 different numbers that we're combining. I have a 6. I have 2, but that's in parentheses being squared. So I have to do 2 squared, which is 4. And then I also have a 3 being squared, which is 9. So I would do the exponents first, 2 squared and 3 squared. And then I would multiply these 3 numbers together, and that gives me 144. Same thing here. I have a 4, 2 to the first, which is just 2, 3 to the third, which is 27. So I would have 4 times 2 times 27 gives me 216. Okay? You can try 5 and 6 now if you'd like. If you're good, you can stop the video, whatever. I am going to give the answers to 5 and 6 here and go through 5 and 6 for you. So if you want to try them, pause the video and then unpause it when you're ready to go over each of these. Okay, so if you have done number 5 and you want to check the answer, I'm going to go through this now. So I'm going to start with the coefficients. It's to the 5th power, so that's 1, 5, 10, 10, 5. I got to zoom out a little bit, and then 1. We'll throw pluses in front of all of those because this is a plus, so they'll all stay the same. And then, you know what, I probably need more room on this one. And then 2x is the first term, so that starts. I raise 2x to the 5th power, and then 2x to the 4th power. And then, I think I'm going to need more room. Here's my 10 again. And then 2x to the 3rd power. And here's the other 10. And then 2x to the 2nd power. And then here's the 5. And then 2x to the 1st. And then there's nothing. Now I'm going to do my 4. And remember, 4 increases from left to right. So it starts, there's nothing here in the first term. It would be 4 to the 1st, 4 to the 2nd. We really should be putting these in parentheses. And remember, it's increasing. The second term increases like the y's did on the first day. So 4 to the 3rd, 4 to the 4th, 4 to the 5th power. Now I'm going to simplify it. 2x to the 5th. So the 2 is in parentheses. It's also being raised to the 5th power. So that's 32x to the 5th. Here I would have 5. 2 to the 4th is 16. 4 to the 1st is 4. So I'm going to multiply those and get 320x to the 4th. And then here I would have 10. 2 to the 3rd is 8. 4 to the 2nd is 16. And then I would get those together and we would get 1280 x to the 3rd. And then this one, I have a 10. I have a 2 squared or 4. 4 to the third, or 64. So I would multiply those together and get 2,560. And then I have a 5. 2 to the first is just 2. 4 to the fourth power is 256. So 256 times 5 times 2 is another, again, 2,560 actually. And then the last one is 1 times 4 to the fifth. Not much to simplify there, and that's 1024. If you'd like to try number 6 now, go ahead and pause, and then come back to the answer. Okay, so then we're going to do number 6 down here. So I'm going to take, it's to the fourth power, so my coefficients are 1. And I would put plus here, but these are minus. And it's actually every other one is a minus, so I actually already know that this is going to be a minus 4, and then a plus 6, and then a minus 4, and then a plus 1. Now you should check yourself as you go to make sure that it works out that way. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Just keep them all plus, because when we simplify, they will change to minus signs later. So however you want to do that. So I'm going to take 3x and raise it first to the fourth power, and then 3x to the third, and then 3x squared, and then 3x, and then nothing. And then I'm going to take negative 5. Now there would be nothing in the first term, but then negative 5 would be to the first. Remember, the second term in the binomial always increases its exponent as it goes through the problem. So 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. All right, so 3x to the fourth. 3 is also being raised to the fourth power. So that would be 81x to the fourth. And then I would have 4 times 3 to the third, or 27, times negative 5 to the first, which is just negative 5. Okay, so that's negative 540 x to the third. And then I have 6. 3 squared is 9. Negative 5 squared is positive 25, because you're raising negative 5 to the second power. And that would give me 1350, positive 1350. And then here I have a 4 times 3 times negative 5 to the third, which is negative 125. It's an odd exponent, so make sure there's a negative here, and the sign's going to be negative on this term. And that comes out as 1500. So minus 1500x, and then negative 5 to the fourth. And of course, negative 5 is going to be positive when it's raised to an even power like 4, so it's positive 625. And that would be the final answer.